really good about my fight. I went out and I executed the game plan. You know, obviously getting the finish, getting the knockout or submission would have been a lot better for me. But you know what, I went out and put on a dominating performance, stuck to my game plan, and you know, I can't ask for any more.
Watching the fight, it was apparent that his leg was hurt, and it seemed to be apparent to us maybe before it was apparent to you. Did you notice that he was vulnerable there, and were you hesitant at all, if you did notice that, to actually kick him in the leg?
Yeah, I noticed it, and I've kicked people in the legs enough to know when it hurts and it sinks in. And he didn't show it for the first couple, but it was apparent to me that they were landing, so I wasn't gonna start picking on it and have him start checking them. So I just kind of mix it up, and it was able to land more often, I think, by mixing it up. So I didn't really necessarily go out and, since 1 and 2 worked, then go out and throw 20 more on the same leg. I wanted to set it up and switch it, that way it landed more frequently.
But did it also kind of seem like you knew that you could do that, but you were looking for a knockout instead?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to get that clean knockout, because I haven't got one of those yet. So I want one of those where it's put my opponent to sleep and then be on the highlight reel. You know.
Were there times where you thought you were close, during the fight, or?
Yeah, there was times where it felt like it was pretty close. I just didn't want to get too crazy, because Ebersol's a very crafty guy, and I didn't want to get caught with something stupid again. It's I just need to be just that much more confident in my ability to be able to put somebody away when I know that they're rocked. But yeah, I rocked him quite a few times, and I know that I did. I just need to close the distance a little bit sooner.
He's a tough guy to put down, though. I mean, to stop. He's very, very difficult to stop.
Yeah, for sure. And watching all of his last fights and all the opponents and all the fights that he's had, he's never been stopped before. That wasn't going to stop me from going out and trying to put him away. I wasn't going to respect anything that he was throwing at me. I was just going to go out and execute my game plan the way that we'd planned for 2 months. And I ended up doing it, and it worked out well for me.
How much has training with GSP improved your game?
He's the best in the world, and he's been the best in the world for the last 6 years. It was absolutely amazing having him as a sparring partner. It was hands down the biggest confidence booster, knowing that I have him as a training partner to go out there and put this fight on, and it was very, very good.
Well, what was it like when you got the call? Did Faraz call you, or how did that thing go down?
Actually, Faraz called my coach, Pat White, and then it ended up being a collaboration where it's our team Brave Legion got brought up, and not only me get to train with people at TriStars, the guys from my team Brave Legion got to come up and train with them too. So to come up, be able to go up there and have the guys from TriStars sparring partners and be able to peak at the same time as those guys, it was absolutely awesome.
How about the conditioning aspects of your game? Because it seemed like in that first round you were swinging away, like you said, looking for that knockout, and a lot of people, social media were saying things like, "Oh, maybe he'll gas himself out, and that's what Ebersol's waiting on." But you looked like you had complete confidence in your conditioning. What do you credit that to?
I credit going out and having confidence in my game plan, and having confidence in my ability, and being relaxed. It's I go out in my other fights, and my training camps are so hard. I can go 5-minute rounds, but then when I get into the fight, I get tired after one round because I put everything into every single punch. But going out and being relaxed, I can throw my punch, they land effectively, and I can do it all day. So going out and being relaxed was my best friend.
A lot of people after that pile fight said you'd won that fight, and maybe you felt that way also. But with this win here, do you finally feel like maybe that's off your back?
Yeah, of course. After decision get taken away from you, and then coming out and putting on a dominating performance, it definitely gets that monkey off your back. But I did think I won that last fight, and I would have been on a 3-fight win streak. But you know what happens, and the only person at fault is myself. So I just go on from here with the win, and come out next time ready to throw down.
You had quite a streak at one point in the UFC, and then had a couple of losses, win, loss, win, loss. When you look back, do you see the things that went wrong maybe in the camps leading to a loss, or do you feel that things just didn't go your way on those particular nights?
I really think about it as battling myself. I grew into the person I am now, over the last probably year, and I can go out and I can strongly say that I'm really comfortable in there now. Like before, I'd always like go out and be a little nervous, and they'd be like real nervous and not confident in my ability. But I'm getting more and more confident with my ability, and yeah, that's all I have to say. So I'm getting really confident. So
What does the harrow feel like in the clinch?
in the clinch, are you asking about the chest hair itself?
Yes.
What is that movie, Along Came Polly, when the guy jumps up?
Yeah.
Like the hair's, it's definitely not something I want to keep my face close to. It's definitely like sandpaper, and it's not only on his chest. It's like shaves back hair. Nothing against Brian. He's just a hairy guy. But yeah, in the clinch with Brian, I had practiced the clinch work quite a bit, and I wasn't going to play in that game.
Did you know much about Brian beforehand? Obviously, he's fought a lot of times. Do you respect him, I guess?
Of course. We were in the same corner when we fought in Atlantic City, and he's a nice guy, and I have nothing against him. And yeah, he seems like pretty cool. I like the way he goes out and he carries himself, and how comfortable he is in the corner, and he's a tough guy, and that was a really good fight.
We talked some, I think it was in Montreal, about how you were the guy, you'd beat Johnny Hendricks, and then it seemed like those guys were kind of getting opportunities ahead of you. Now that you're on the same card, like you mentioned, the confidence boost of training with GSP. Do you feel like now, what's the emotion like when you see those guys at the top of the card and you're farther down on it?
They did what they needed to do to get there, and I have nothing against it. They're making it happen, and I kind of slipped, and now I'm doing what I need to do to make it happen again. So hopefully next time I'll be higher up on the card and get a little bit more attention.
What do you think you have to do to get where they are?
Win. Win impressively.
Yeah.
That's about it.
You said your entire Brave Legion team got to go train at TriStar. Did you pick up anything from that gym? Obviously, it's a very successful gym that you guys are going to then take home and put into practice.
That's not my call, because I leave all my training in my coach's hands. And I'm sure it's gonna happen, and I'm sure it's not the last time we're gonna go up there and train. But I'm sure there's definitely techniques and practices that are gonna be incorporated in future training camps.